All right, there we go. Fantastic. We are back. Thank you guys so much for doing that. I want to welcome you guys again to the 2014 Kindle Blueprint. I want to welcome all the buyers of the AK Booster. Thanks so much for being here. I want to get right into it, but before I do, I want to welcome our special guest and co-creator of the AK Booster.
All right, guys. I don't know. I just got booted out somehow. Anyways, welcome to the webinar here. I really appreciate that Tim is here helping us out with some really kick-ass training. If you missed out the first webinar training, welcome, and you won't be missing out anything on this one. If you're here again for the second time, welcome again. And yeah, Tim, thanks again for doing it for my peeps. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, man. Sorry about all the technical issues. All right, guys, let's do this. We've already talked about this. Let's talk about the 2004 Kindle survey. Okay, when I did this, I wanted to ask how many people had books currently published on Amazon, Nook, iBooks, etc. To my surprise, about 45% of the people had 0 books published. 40% of the people had less than 5 books published, and you had 10 to 20% that had anywhere from 6 to 10 plus books. The number that I want you guys to keep in mind as we go through this amazing training tonight is I want you to keep in mind the number 12, because that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic happens for you. The second thing, before we go to that, I want to ask, and this is a judgment-free zone, so please don't be embarrassed by your answer, but type into the question and answer box, how many books do you currently have published on Amazon, Kindle, Nook, Kobo, whatever? I see 30, I see 4, 3, 6, 0, 1. Someone said 550. That's pretty decent. 1 book, 6 in the making. Awesome. 0, I'm a beginner. Bruce, welcome to the family. I see a lot of 0s. I see a lot of 10s. I see a lot of 12s. Whether you're a beginning author or an established author, this presentation is going to help you. Whether you're just getting started or you're trying to build up, scale, and leverage the work that you've already done in different marketplaces. So don't lose heart if you're getting started, because welcome, and don't leave if you're an experienced author, because you're going to see some stuff how you can scale and leverage the content that you've already done. All right? Now, here's the cool thing. What's the most interesting thing that people are interested in learning about Kindle right now? Surprise, surprise, 35% of the people out there are interested in learning more about promotional strategies. They're interested in learning things about how to do children's books, how to write your own nonfiction, to do fiction, children's illustration, recipe, and even some romance and erotica. But what I've found is a lot of people are interested just as much in the writing, but also in the promotion of their books. Go ahead and type again into that question box. What are you here for? Is it to learn how to write some different books? Is it learn how to promote and sell your books? What is the best way that you guys are looking for? Promote, how to sell, right? Because I'm going to let you in a dirty little secret. Writing the book is only 40% of the journey. It's great. It's awesome. You wrote a book. Yay, you. But the truth of the matter is nothing gets done until money exchanges hands, right? Nothing gets done unless money exchanges hands. Okay, so understand that, and if that's what you're here for, you're definitely going to be in the right place, right? The 2004 Kindle survey went on to say, are most people interested in writing it themselves or outsourcing? 41, almost 42% of the people wanted it to be written by themselves. Almost 60% of them said that they wanted to outsource. What about you? Do you want to write it yourself? Do you want to do outsourcing? What works best for you? I see a lot of people saying myself, definitely. I want to do both. I definitely want to do that. I want to figure out exactly. Right. Well, if you want to write it yourself, that's great. I love writing my own stuff. If you want to outsource it, you're in the right place as well, because we do outsource a majority of our books. And I recommend, believe it or not, outsourcing when you first get started, because it can speed up your time to production very rapidly. So let me explain to you a little bit about the key takeaways that I took from the survey. First of all, almost half the people interested in publishing have yet to publish their first book. If that's you, don't worry. You're in the right place, because we're going to show you how you can do it quickly and rapidly and scale up to 2 books per month without having to do a ton of work. Okay, 80% of the writers have less than 2 books published. That's why you're not making money. It's not because you have this one book, right? And oh my God, I'm not making $1 million with it. It's because you don't have enough fish hooks in the sea to catch as much fish as possible. Okay, and of course, people want to have the ability to write the book themselves, but prefer to outsource it when possible. So those are the key takeaways that I took away from it. So let me tell you where I got started, because I'm not coming to you like some fake guru that's going to talk about some children's book that made 10K. I'm not that guy, right? What I'm here to talk to you about is where I got started just a few months ago. All right, I started back in August 8, 2013. From the beginning of August until the end of 2013, we were able to successfully publish 7 books in the Kindle marketplace. And that's all that we've done. We haven't explored iBooks or anything else like that. We've exclusively stuck with Kindle, and there's a critical reason why we've done that. The great news is 6 out of those 7 books have actually turned a profit for us. Right? 6 out of the 7 books have actually been profitable for us. And that one quote-unquote lame duck book, right? That book is one that we've been able to leverage, and I'll show you how we're leveraging that in just a second. Okay? Now, here's where we begin. We first started publishing children's picture books, and I truly believe that children's picture books are a great place for you to get started, especially if you're just beginning. Now, let me be clear so there is no misunderstanding. I have zero interest in becoming the world's greatest children's book author. Okay? I have zero interest in it. What I do care about is a low risk and a high return. Let me ask you a question. I really want you to answer this because I value your participation, right? If I said to you, give me $100 today, and I'm going to give you $20 a month for the rest of your life, how many of you would take me up on that offer? How many of you would say, yeah, you know what, I would take you up on that. I would give you $100 today. Right, yes, of course, me, right? You'd be silly not to take me up on that. Well, that's pretty much what you're doing with these children's books, because most of these books that we've had created only cost about $65 to have produced. And when I mean produced, I mean cover, I mean written word, I mean photos, I mean formatted up, publicized, everything. And this is why it's so critical. I'm risking very little money, and if I sell the book for $2.99, that means I only have to sell 35 copies of that book in my lifetime to break even. Think about that for a second. You put 65 bucks out, you make about $2 per book, you sell 30 plus copies of your book, it's paid off. How many of you guys truly believe that in your lifetime, not this week, not this month, but from now until the day that we depart this earth, that you have the ability to sell 35 copies of the book? Or more importantly, that Amazon has the ability to sell 35 copies of the book, just sitting up there with traffic, right? I'm getting a lot of yes. Yeah, absolutely, right? So that's what makes this so powerful, okay? Because you have a low risk and a high return. It's like if I don't somehow break even on the book, oh well, I'm usually only out about a week of my time, and I'm only out about $65. Oh, gee shucks. You know, 65 bucks, a good meal with the family, that, you know, that's all I'm out. And I'm out low time, I've got low risk, but I've got potential of high reward. This book right here, by the way, this was our best-selling book in December. I didn't do anything to promote it in December, and I sold 25 copies of it. Didn't do anything to promote, not a single promotion, and I made 50 bucks off of it. Bam, right? Bam, there you go. Okay, but the real thing I want you to understand, and the real reason we started doing these children's picture books was this reason. I wanted to develop a system. I wanted a system that we could use in our business that helps us outsource a majority of the books that we created at the beginning. And why I wanted that system was I wanted to have the ability to have interchangeable people and parts so that when I step out of the business and I've got to go travel or I've got to go do something else, the machine keeps running. So we developed the system. It's called our KD outsourcing system. It's also called our affordable KD system. Okay, and it's a 10-step process that I'm going to walk through with you right now that we use to outsource any and all of our Kindle books. In fact, every book that we've had created to date has been done using this system. So the first thing that we do is we pick a category. Now, for this example, children's ebook is the category. Well, Tim, how do I know if I've got a good category? Well, if you can find 3 books within the top 20 books of that category that have an Amazon bestseller ranking of 20,000 or below, bam, you found a good category. Second thing is niche. If you can find a niche within that category. So category would be children's ebook. A niche would say be animals. And for animals, what I'm looking for is 3 books within the top 20 that have an Amazon bestseller ranking of 50,000 or below. And you can find the Amazon bestseller ranking of almost any book on Amazon when you look at the individual book profile about 3/4 the way down, right? About 3/4 the way down. Then the next thing that we do is we talk about researching our book. This is very difficult to do, right? It's extremely difficult. I mean, I have to go to about 4 websites to research any book that I want to do. The first thing I did is we go to Wikipedia because we're doing nonfiction books on things like bats. So I go to Wikipedia. Then I'll go to other books out there. Well, if I'm not the first bat author, 1, that's a really good thing. And 2, what can I learn from these other authors? And then number 3 is any authority website. So when we did our bat book, we actually found like the North American Bat Preservation Society of America, and they have an official website talking about the bats, their habitat, what they eat, you know, how they sleep, all that great stuff. And it's very easy to do. These children's books, by the way, are not the next War and Peace. All right? They're not the next War and Peace. Their books that typically run up anywhere from 60 to 80 pages, maybe even less, anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 words. 1,500 to 2,500 words. We typically get the writing done for those for about $35 a book. Are you guys starting to see how powerful this can be, how quickly you guys can assemble a book? You go in, you find a category, you find a niche, you use AK Booster to give you the keywords, right? You do some research on your book, you hire someone to write the book. Now, we do the outline. Here's the cool thing. We do the outline, but that's all that we do. And in the outline, we basically say, here's the type of book we want written, here's how many words we'd like it to be, here's the educational grade, age level that we want it written for, and here's the topics that you want to cover. I want you to cover X, Y, Z. Usually give them 3 to 5 main topics per book, good to go. Then we go hire a writer. Usually we use Fiverr. Believe it or not, for these books we've used Fiverr, we've used Odesk, and a place called Need an Article. If you use 1 or 3 of those sites, you will have as much as you need to be successful to hire an outsourced writer. Then we get photos and illustrations for our books. Typically, we'll get the covers done on Fiverr, and we'll get the photos from a place like Shutterstock.com or anything like that. When there's gigs of people on Fiverr that will get you dozens of photos for $5 American that you have full and legal rights to use. Then we get a cover made. Then we do formatting. There's a ton of software out there. I love software, but you know what I really love? Someone that does it human-wise, right? It's like, hey, I want Jane to format the software for me, or format the book, and she will do it, and she'll put it up there. Again, typically one of these books gets done in less than 30 days for less than $100, and then, of course, we do promotions. So that's really where we got started, all right? Now, then we said, all right, the cool thing is we've got these books. Now we got to start promoting it. And that's what you guys are here. A lot of you want to know, well, how can I promote more stuff? So what I did was I started, right, sharing this system with select authors, and I said, okay, let's see what the results are. So we did 30 days. We did an intensive challenge, and we put more authors on Kindle within 30 days than any other program out there, any other kids program, any other program that I know of. We put more authors on Kindle selling their book day after day than any program out there. And these are just a sample of some of the books that you'll see, right? So there's 4 pages. You see those. These are all books that 30 days ago didn't even exist, and now they do thanks to this program. So we do all this. We do that's great. Mike says it's easy to implement. Teresa says it's amazing. Jean actually went from 2 to 8 books, right? And Jeanette became nothing but a bestseller in 30 days. So she went from 0 to best-selling status within 30 days. Now, the cool thing about this system is it gave us the ability to produce books within 30 days for less than $100. Again, think back. If I said, give me $100 and I'll give you $20 a month for the rest of your life, how many hundreds of dollars would you be willing to give? You guys all said as much as I could, right? The cool part is we were able to take this outsourcing system and apply it to other markets. So it wasn't just the children's niche. That's where we got started. But then we said, let's go after some more mainstream books, right? Katina says, I recognize some of those books. So what we did was we started creating recipe books that allowed us to piggyback off popular U.S. holidays and events. For those of you who are in the States or even around the world, what's happening here on Sunday in the United States? Just curious to see who's paying attention and who kind of knows what's happening. Super Bowl. Oh, Mike says, I'm in the UK. Mike, you guys don't get American football over there? Super Bowl. Go Broncos. We're not going to start that. Go Broncos and Seahawks. May the best team win. Maybe the Broncos, right? So here's the thing. What happens every year around this time? The Super Bowl. What happens every year in November? Thanksgiving. What major holiday just happened? It was Chinese New Year, right? It just happened the other day. Those are patriarchal events, meaning they're always going to happen. I don't care if the government shuts down. I don't care if the economy's in the crapper. I don't care what happens, barring major nuclear catastrophe. We're all going to be dragged to our in-laws' house on Thanksgiving to have some overcooked turkey and, hopefully some decent desserts, right? So you got Groundhog's Day coming up, right? You got Valentine's Day. Piggyback, Christine, is ability to piggyback. So if you're going to do a recipe book and you do a book on Thanksgiving recipes, you're piggybacking off an already existing event. You're not trying to create a new holiday. You're already saying, hey, this holiday is coming up. So Thanksgiving is coming up. Here we got Super Bowl. Now I know that's not a holiday, but that's a big event. It's going to happen every single year the NFL is in business, right? Valentine's Day, when the guys have to go out and buy overpriced roses and chocolates to show that we love the one that we love and take them to fancy meals, or if we're on a budget, cook for our spouses. That is going to happen every single year. And if you don't believe me, do this. Next holiday, just go, you know what, we're not doing Valentine's Day. And just watch the looks that you get from your friends and family. So not only is it something that is known in the holiday, but more importantly, it's frowned upon if you don't participate, right? Does that make sense? I want to make sure some light bulbs are starting to come off. The cool thing about doing this is I'm guaranteed sales each and every year. By the way, I'm going to stop because I've only seen 2 people say yes. I don't need all of you to participate, but I do need some of you, right? You guys are starting to see the power of this. And the cool thing about it is every single time, every single year, we're almost guaranteed to make sales if we do the right job promoting it, which really allowed us to hone in on these holiday books with our Pump the Brakes promotional plan. Okay, now this is a cool strategy that allows us to leverage free traffic and turn them into paid buyers instantly, which I will be more than happy to share with you guys here in just a minute. Howard says, I'm listening, keep going, you're funny. Well, good. Okay, so here's the deal. This all led me, the promotional strategy, the piggyback books, the kids book, it all led me to 2014 and what me and my business are doing in 2014 to make it the best year ever for us on Kindle and help you have the best year ever, right? I'm going to share with you guys today my 2014 book formula, how we're creating 2 books a month, the Kindle scaling formula, how to leverage your work, how to get to that 4 figures, 5 figures, 6 figures and beyond, and how you can piggyback off popular fiction and non-fiction books. All right, so that's what we're here to do. What I'm going to do is take a drink of my delicious Diet Coke, which I already know is going to kill me, so spare the lecture. But if you guys are ready to rock and roll, type ready, and let's get busy. Bam, beautiful. I have to do the Diet Coke disclaimer because someone always like, that'll kill you. It's like a lot of things are going to kill me. All right, let's get this going. Michael, we say ready here in the States, all right? All right, so let's do it. 2014, this is the book formula that I'm using and I recommend you use in order to get your books done quickly and effectively in 2014. For me and for you, it needs to meet the following criteria. First of all, the book has to be done within 45 days. Why is that? 2 reasons. 1, I am not trying to become the next Tim Ferriss. I'm not writing the next War and Peace. I don't have the time, the money, or the dedication to write a 600,000-word book or a 600-page book. I have zero interest in becoming the next Game of Thrones author. What I am interested in is producing quality and quantity so that I have more chances to make more money. If you have one book out there, all your hope rests on that one book. Your good days, your bad days, everything, right? Promotion goes up, promotion goes down. Amazon shuts this category down. Amazon does whatever it is. But if you have 10, 12, 15, 20, 25 books out there, it spreads the love. It decreases the workload that one book has to produce. If you have 25 books out there, guess what? All of them sell 1 copy a day. That's a lot better than trying to get one book to sell 25 copies a day, right? Okay, so it's got to be done within 45 days. Here's the other reason. Tell me if you have this little disease. It's called entrepreneurial ADD. What that means is shiny object over there. Yeah, that's the street name, shiny object syndrome, right? Or being crackheads, as I like to call it. It's like, I got to get my next fix. I got to buy my next WSO. I got to buy my next product. I got to do this. I gotta. Here's why that's so important. Our lives are run by two things, time and energy. Time, we have more than energy. And if your energy is high, you find the time for things, right? It's like New Year's resolutions. Like when your energy and motivation is high to accomplish something, it's amazing how quickly you're able to accomplish it. But if you hate it, if you dread it, if you don't like it, it's amazing how little energy you have for it. So for me, and I'm suspecting for a large majority of you, you are excited about something today. Next week, you're kind of about it. The week after that, you're even more And a month or two down the road, you're going to be like, I don't even remember why I liked that in the first place. I'm just asking. Is that like anybody here? Again, it's a judgment-free zone. If it is, welcome, family. Let's get a big group hug together. We're going to get through this together. We've all done it. Now, Wesley says, no, Wesley, you are a freak of nature. And that's amazing. And that's great. And you can probably have better success at longer-term projects than I can. I know me, and that's important, okay? It's like, oh, that system works really great for that guy. Well, that's good for him, but it doesn't work well for me. Paul says I like to call it multitasking. Not exactly. Okay, so I want to get books done within 45 days. Really, 30 days is optimal, but 45 days is where I like to start. I like to get a minimum price of $2.99. Can you make money off a 99-cent book? Sure you can. Is there a reason to do a 99-cent book? Yes, there is, for strategic reasons. Do I recommend it? Only in limited quantities and only for a short amount of time. Why do I like $2.99? Because Amazon gives me 70% of that money, right? And that's what we're all here for. We're not here to save the manatees. We're here to make money. And if I'm doing all the work, I don't want 35% of the cash. I want 70% of it. Now, we start at $2.99. Most of our books are $3.99 and above. The next thing is I like to be able to piggyback off popular events and topics. Valentine's Day is 13 days away. Gentlemen, just letting you know, you have 13 days left to go Valentine's Day shopping. If I had time, and if you had time, you could do a book on Cupid, right? And guess what? That book's going to sell amazingly well around Valentine's Day. Why is that? Well, parents have to explain to kids why they have to participate in this crazy holiday where the guy has to spend all the money and the girl gets lavished with prizes, jewels, and cash, right? Schools have to teach that. And, you know, I mean, it's a guaranteed thing. Every February 14th, a guy is going to drop a ton of money on a girl that he's dating, trying to impress, and or married, and that's going to happen every single year. Okay? So that's what I mean by being able to piggyback off popular events and topics. And I want to outsource it for around $100 when getting started. My holiday books and recipe books cost me a little over $100. But the way I'm going to show you I can leverage that hundreds of dollars and multiple times, okay? So here's how we're doing 2 books per month. This is how we're doing it, okay? We have created something called a fast action calendar. You remember back when I showed you those 4 pages of brand new authors? This is what they used. For people like you and I that have a problem with distraction and, you know, we get unmotivated, disinterested very quickly, this is a godsend, okay? This is what you can do in order to be successful with publishing. You take this calendar and you put it to use. And yes, Mike, there will be. The first day we do topic research. Chances are you've got a book already inside of you. And if you don't believe that, I promise you, you do. Because you've done something in your life. And think about this. Think about this. Is there one thing in your life that you have done that somebody else would be willing to pay you $3 for? I want you to answer that question in the question and answer box. Think about it. Have you lost some weight? Have you got out of debt? Have you repaired a relationship? Have you been able to save or invest money? Do you know how to make amazing tomatoes? Can you make the most amazing pumpkin pie alive? At least to your family, right? Ken says he lost 30 pounds. Ken, I'm telling you right now, I will pay you $3 to learn how you lost 30 pounds, right? Stephanie says, I have the best carrot cake and bread. I would pay you $3 to learn how to make carrot cake and bread, especially carrot cake, because I love carrot cake, right? That's all I'm telling you. Christopher said he lost 2 wives. Christopher, I've lost 1. It's fine. You can tell me how to lose the second one if it ever comes to that, right? My whole point is The topics that you want to research can be done very quickly, or they can be done internally, right? Someone says, quit drinking. I mean, there's tons, okay? Then you do a book outline. A book outline is very, very simple once you learn the formula for doing it, okay? Then you do a job description. Again, I hire off Fiverr, Odesk, need an article. Then I hire a writer to do it, and then the writer gets everything done within 5 to 7 days. So I'll get a rough draft, I'll make some edits, and we'll go back and be finished up. For children's books, we're talking about 2,500 words. For recipe books, they're even less words. They're more recipes, obviously, because that's why they're called a recipe book. You got it, right? For your own nonfiction work, they can be as long or as short as you want to make them. One of the best-selling books that I love is 81 pages. It's a book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It by Kamal Rabbi. I can't pronounce his last name, so whenever I see him, he's actually a good friend. I always tell him, hey, Kamal, good to see you, right? My whole point is, if you can teach me in 20 pages, I'll pay you $3 to learn that. If you can teach me in 200 pages, I'll pay you more to learn that. So we get the book written, then we get photos done, then we get the covers ordered, and bam, within 2 weeks we've got the book formatted and it's up on Kindle. Now here's the thing. If I finish on Friday, I want to start promoting it by the following week, the second week at the latest. Okay? Book done on Friday. Next week I want to promote it, second week at the latest. Why? Because I want to make my money back. Right? Mark asked, do I order covers on Fiverr? Yes, I do. Denise says, I wrote a 20-page book that makes me a solid $125 a month. It doesn't have to be difficult. Stop making it more difficult. Let me do some good English on you. Stop making it more harder, right? Harder. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Mary asked this question, and I'll address it, and then I'm going to stop answering questions, or my ADD is going to kick in. Okay? Aren't you afraid that they're going to steal it? No. No, I am not afraid. Why? Because one, I could have them sign a non-compete contract. Two, they don't have ambition like you do, Mary. They're not thinking about doing their own book. If they did, they would do it themselves, but they don't. Let me give you the best example of this. My dad, I love him to death. He's the greatest man I ever have met, and I owe so much to him, it's ridiculous. But he is a 9-to-5 guy. He comes in at 9, he leaves at 5. You don't call him on the weekend. You don't call him. He doesn't care what happens at 5:01 to that business. He is out of there. The idea of owning and running his own business scares the ever-loving out of him, right? How many of you guys know people like that? They're great employees, but if they ever had to be an employer or self, you're like, they're going to starve. Like, I don't know about how that person's going to live, right? If you know those people, those are the people that are writing these books. They have zero desire to do what you want to do, but they are more than happy to get paid $25, $35, $45 to write the book for you, right? The fear keeps them in their comfort zone. So you get this done. Now, here's where we screwed up in 2014 and how you can fix it in where we screwed up in 2013 and how we're fixing it in 2014. This is critical. This is where we screwed up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you something I haven't said before. We've done a double screw up. So the people that left early, screw them. They don't get the double screw up that we had, and you don't get to learn how to fix this problem not once but twice. So in 2013, here's where I screwed up first time. First time was we'd hire everybody in a linear fashion. What do I mean? We'd hire one person to do the topic research, one person to do the book outline, one person to do the job description, and one writer. What happens when you have one of anything? Well, when it gets sick, when it disappears, when something happens to it, it goes away. So we would hire a writer, we'd hire them, we'd be super excited, energy high, level high, we're going to make a, cajillion dollars with this book. Deadline missed. Hey, where are you? Oh, dear sir, please give me a few more days. Okay, deadline missed again. Deadline missed again. No more emails. Where is this person? Can't get them on Skype. Can't get them on Facebook. Can't get them via email. And then what happens? You have to start all over. Has that happened to anybody here, or have they heard of that happening to anybody else? By the way, the answer to that question is yes, because you just heard it to me, right? You just heard it to me. Latifah's like, no, Latifah, I just told you that happened to me, right? Mary says she's in the middle of it now. Well, Mary, here's how you fix that. And here's how we fixed it. We fixed it by hiring 2 writers to work in a parallel fashion. So they're not working on the same book. What they are working on okay, is they're working on 2 different books at the same time, right? They're working on books at the same time. So when we did our holiday book, we had someone do one for Thanksgiving and one for Christmas. Here's what happened to us and why this system is so powerful. A Thanksgiving writer disappeared. I don't know what happened. She left. I don't know if she got baked into a turkey. Somebody cut her up and put her into a pie. I still don't have any idea what happened to her. Maybe a drone strike? I don't know. But guess what? Because we had that other writer, we were able to finish book number 2, and we liked the work so much from book number 2 that we asked, hey, can you finish book number 1 for us? And she did an amazing job. Guess what? Instead of missing out on 9, 10 days, we missed out on 2 to 3 days maximum. So by having 2 writers working at the same time, if one person goes down, the other person's still working. So all hope is not lost. Do you guys understand that? You start to see the power of having a calendar like this and having people work at the same time? At the same time. So let me tell you screw up number 2, which I haven't told anybody about this, right? I haven't told anybody about this. Let me tell you what happens when you start making money on Kindle. You start believing your own hype, and not really believe. You start thinking, man, I made $500 last month. I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to just take this month off. I'm just going to stop this train dead in its tracks. Does that sound like a smart idea to anybody? It's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to the gym every day. I bet you if I just stop going to the gym, I'm going to keep losing weight and being successful. Of course not. Right? Of course not. Right? That's the stupidest thing, but I did it. I absolutely did it. Last month, you know how many books we created? 0. You know why? I was traveling. We got busy. I was living the dream. I was making it rain with Kindle checks. I was just busy. So here's how we're fixing that screw up, right? Here's how we're fixing that screw up. At the beginning of every month, I sit down and I plan out my books for that month. So Monday morning, without fail, I am sitting down and planning my books out. The first of every month, without fail, you should sit down, plan your books out. Make it happen. Develop your life around that day. Because if you don't make it a priority, your team won't make it a priority. Your business will suffer. And as a result, and here's the thing, right? It's kind of like people, and I've done this too, okay? So I'm not preaching from the hilltop. I'm preaching from right next to you. You stop working out. And you eat like crap, right? You're eating junk food and you step on the scale and you're like, hell yeah, still losing weight, still losing weight. Then you eat some more crap and you're like, oh, I only gained a pound. I only gained 2 pounds. I only gained 3 pounds. I only gained 4. And then blink, 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 you're 50 pounds heavier. Anybody ever seen that happen? I've done that. Done it many times. So what happens is you don't do a book 1 month and you think, hey, baby, I still got money coming in. I'm good. Kindle's still cutting me them checks. And then what happens is those checks get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. If you don't keep the machine going, it's going to break down on you. So I'm telling you that. I've never told anybody that's ever been on one of these calls before that because it's just something I discovered today. We stopped the machine last month, and now we have to put it in double time to catch back up. So please promise me that you will not make that mistake. At a minimum, create a book a month. Howard says, are you insane? A book a month. No, Howard, if you've been paying attention, I just showed you how to publish a book a month for less than $65. I'm not insane. I've done it. And more importantly, because, of course, I'm Tim Castleman, all-powerful and knowing you guys think, right? In reality, I'm just like you. I've had students do it. Hell, Howard, I've had students do more than I have. I got a lady right now who's crushing me in production. So I'm not insane because people just like you have done it. All right? So come here, Howard. I'll give you a big hug. Right? All right. So let's talk about scaling because this is where it starts getting real powerful. When I enter any niche, I initially have 2 books created and begin promoting them instantly. My goal is within 30 days of those books being up on Amazon, what I like to do is I like to check my sales figures. And if one of the two books, have made a profit or broken even, then I continue getting more books produced. So let me explain to you what I mean by being profitable. That means if I paid $65, I've made at least $65 off of that one book. If it's profitable, it's anything above the $65. Okay? So if I do it within 30 days, that tells me, hey, I published 2 books. One of them has already paid for itself. We're in the money now. Because here's something else I haven't told you guys, but I'll tell you now. I run a debt-free business. Okay? I had to put up a little initial starting capital, but the money I'm using right now, ladies and gentlemen, is all given to me by Amazon and its customers. So you have to put a little money out front, just like you did for the software, right? But if you make money and you reinvest it, you start playing with house money, right? Anyone ever been to Vegas and been up and like, hell yeah, like I'm going to keep gambling because it's not even my money I'm playing with. I'm playing with their money. You can try things, you can experiment, you can do powerful things when Amazon's cutting you that check. All right, so we do these 2 books, bam. First one produces a profit. Then I scale up and I have 3 additional books created. Okay, I'm just going to skip to this because this will be easy for you guys to see if you're visual like me. Then during that 90-day promotional cycle, I like to have 3 of the now 5 books that I have created producing an income. You see, I'm only advancing and scaling in a niche when Amazon, and more importantly, Amazon's customers, tell me they want me to. So what happens if you get 2 books created and they don't pay off? Well, then I'm done with that niche and I'm moving on to something else. Right? I'm moving on to something else, another niche. There's a million niches out there. There's a million of them. I know a guy that's crushing it by doing like preparedness and survival guides. I know another guy that's crushing it with cookbooks. I know another guy that's doing it with quiz books. I know another guy that's doing it with line drawing books. There's so much opportunity out there that you just have to take this stance. If it doesn't work in this market, it will work somewhere else. And all I'm trying to do is scale up to 12 books in that particular category and niche so that I can own that category and niche and always be in front of my customers and Amazon. And here's how I do it, okay? Once I get to those 12 books, what I'm trying to do is do a free promotion on a single book each week using the Pump the Brakes promotional plan, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. Then once I scale up, right, it's very simple to do a book promotion for an individual book per week. So this week's the bat book, next week's the horse book, the book after that is going to be the rat book, then the snake book, then the turtle book, then the dolphin book, then the whatever. Anybody know why I picked 12 weeks, by the way? Just curious. Anybody know why 12 books? No. 90 days, 12 weeks. I get 5 free promotional days every 90 days from Amazon on their KDP Select program. So I don't have to space out my book promotions if I have 12 books, like, oh, I'm going to use 2 days this week and 2 days next month. No. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to hit one book, use as many days as I need to, because by the time that book comes up again, Amazon's going to bless me with 5 more days. I said 12 was the magic number, Michael. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Now, here's the cool thing. You remember that lame duck book I told you about, the one that hasn't made me any money yet? The reason it hasn't made me any money yet is it's just not selling well, right? So what I can do is I can bundle up that book with other books that are selling well. Would you like 1 book for $2.99 or 3 books for $5.99? I give them 2 good selling books and 1 book that's not selling well. Now, you can't do it with a crappy quality, book. If the book sucks quality-wise, address that, and chances are to sell better. But this is a good quality book. It's just the wrong niche. We messed up. It happens. It's guaranteed to happen to all of us at some point. So instead of letting it be, oh my goodness, I'm not making any money off of it, now I'm bundling it up with 2 good selling books, and I'm creating an additional revenue stream, and it's paying for itself that way. I'll also show you another cool way you can use it in just a moment. But think about this for a second. You're making more money for these books. And here's another thing. If you're busy/lazy like I am, get 7 books out there. Then take those 7 books and put them in 3 or 4 different bundles. Bam. 7 plus 4, that's 11, right? Make sure my math's good. Yep, it is. Do 5 bundles or 8 books and do 4 bundles. Now you're up to that elusive 12 types of books out there. What do I mean by bundles? Dennis, I mean like, let's say that you were going to do a boys bundle pack and you have a book on snakes, a book on sharks, and a book on spiders. Let's just say that. And then you did like a girls bundle pack that has like horses and unicorns and flamingos or dolphins or whatever. That's what I mean by bundling. You get 3 books for the price of 2 or 3 books for the price of 1. Does that make sense? Want to make sure. All right. Please tell me that some light bulbs are starting to come off, that you guys are starting to see, really, it's not that difficult. If you have a system and you have a plan and you have the ability to scale and you know what to look for, the key leading indicators, that you're starting to see that this doesn't have to be as complicated as some people make it out to be. Perfect. Awesome. System of leveraging rocks. Well, funny you mentioned leveraging there, Joel, because I'm going to talk to you about how you can be even lazier. And here is how it is, right? Okay, I'm going to stop before I do this. Christopher, I'm not making light of the actual progress. Christopher's comment is, Tim, just don't make light of the actual process. How am I making light of it, Christopher? I've given you my exact process. I've given you my 10-step system. I've given you my fast action calendar. I've told you how we're scaling. I've been totally honest with you where I've screwed up. How am I making light of it? I'm curious. I'm just curious. How am I making light of the actual process? You answer that, and then I'll be more than happy to address that. Back to people that want to be successful. Okay, leveraging your work, part 1. This is how we're using and repurposing as much content as possible. Okay? This is critical, and once you start to get it, you'll see it. So we did a Thanksgiving book, right? We did a Thanksgiving book. It had I forget how many recipes it had, but all the recipes were broken down. We had appetizers, mains, sides, all that great stuff. Well, let me ask you guys a question. What was the most popular book, or the most popular type of diet in 2013? Somebody give that to me. I'm seeing a lot of paleo. I'm seeing a lot of Atkins. Was gluten-free? I'm curious. Was gluten-free not big for you guys? Because gluten-free was huge here, or starting to get huge. But everyone keeps telling me paleo. So maybe paleo was the big thing. Well, let me ask you a question. If you're a meat and potatoes type of person, you're a meat and potatoes mom, like my mom is, right? And you've got a son that's on the Atkins diet when he wants to be. Do you know how to cook for him? Probably not. So where are you going to look for that advice? Probably a cookbook. How many of you guys own a cookbook? I'm curious. How many of you guys do? I do. Now, let me ask you this. All the people that are saying, I do. How many of you guys own just one cookbook? You bought that one cookbook, that Cooking for Singles book, or Cooking with Your Microwave, 1979, and that's it, right? No, I'm seeing hundreds, 8 to hundreds. I have a whole shelf of them, 30 to 40. Well, guess what? You're not alone, because everybody does that. I have bunches of cookbooks, and I don't even cook. But I buy them because it's like, oh, the peanut butter cookbook. I kind of want to know that. So what you can do is you can take your main book, and you can break it down into individual diets. Paleo, gluten-free. Here's the cool thing. Can you use 100% of your initial book? No, you cannot. You cannot do that. But can you use 50, 60, 70% of it? Well, heck yeah, you can, because a turkey is gluten-free, right? A turkey is paleo. A turkey is Atkins-friendly. It's not vegetarian-friendly, so I guess you have to have a tofu turkey. But who the heck wants that? My point is you can leverage the work that you've done once and have it transfer to new works. And here's the cool thing. What happens when you go to a writer and you say, hey, you know how you did all that work for me last time? I need you to do half of that work for me this time. What happens? What happens? I'll tell you what happens. The cost goes less and the production time ramps up because I need less work from you and I need it faster, right? So I'm paying them less and I'm getting my books done quicker. Anybody think you could maybe scale up with that pretty fast by paying half the money and getting the books done in half the time? Now, here's the really cool thing, and I'll just be fully admitting, right? When I did the individual book, or excuse me, when I did my Thanksgiving book, it was number 2. Anybody want to guess what kicked my ass in the Thanksgiving department? Gary, have you been on this call before? Wayne has too. Yes, I can. Yeah, you guys can't do it, right? Pies. A book on pies. And Wayne and Gary, you don't get a prize because you guys were here last time, right? A book on pies beat me like a redheaded stepchild. Apologies to all the redheaded stepchildren out there, okay? But what did that make my light bulb go off? It said, well, wait a second. If a book on pies can be the #1 best-selling book on Thanksgiving, well, I wonder if I could take my section on pies for my Thanksgiving book, add some content to it and more pie recipes, and bam, now I've got a pie book. Lisa says she actually has a redhead stepchild. Well, stop beating them, Lisa, and then we won't use that as an analogy. Just kidding. Just kidding. My apologies to all the redheads and stepchildren out there. Lisa's like, okay, I'll do that at once. Okay, great. You guys get what I'm saying, right? You can take this work that you do one time and leverage it to other books. So let me address the question before somebody should ask it, okay? Well, Tim, doesn't Amazon get upset about duplicate content? No, they don't. You want to know why? Because you're the author of all 3 of these books. You're the author of all 3 of these books. Anybody ever bought a Brian Tracy book? If you have, buy a second Brian Tracy book. You'll be shocked and amazed at how much of it is duplicate content, meaning it's the exact same thing, maybe reworded just a little bit different, but they'll have maybe 25 to 30% new information. Right? People, if they can do it, you can do it. And they can't get upset with you. I mean, has anybody ever bought a book like that? I used to buy like a yearly update of the Writer's Digest book, and you once you crack 2 editions open, you're like, I don't know why I do that. Video games, for people who buy video games or play video games. I'm a big NHL fan. I buy every NHL one. They trick me every damn time. I get in there, there's like 2 things different, and I'm like, damn it, you got me again. I spent $60 on this new video game, and it's essentially the same, but now I can fight more, and it's got an updated roster. Right? Mike says, I'm surprised by that. I thought Amazon would go nuts about duplicate content. Mike, if you're the author, they can't get mad at you for publishing some of the work from the previous book in your new book, especially if it's in a different thing. I mean, it's like, well, this is a turkey recipe. Yes, it is. Well, it's in these 2 books. Yes, it is. Why is that? Well, they're both books on turkeys. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're good. Right. All right. Leveraging your work #2. Take poorly performing books and use them to bundle with best-selling books or as giveaways. Someone said, are you collecting email addresses? Yes, I am. One of the ways that I learned this was I actually got on purely for research purposes, okay? Purely for research purposes. And this is, before I give this example, this is merely an example. If you have a moral or religious obligation or objection against this, I 100% respect that. I'm just using it as an example. Do not come to my house and pitchfork me, okay? When I was doing my research, thinking if I wanted to get into the erotica category of writing, there was a very smart writer who offered a free story in exchange for an email address. I gave her the free email address to get the free story, merely to read the articles. That's all. But here's what's funny. Every week I get an email from her talking about one of her old works or one of her new works. But here's what's even funnier. I never read anything that she sent out as far as the free book. But I gave her my email address and was willing to do that, and am still on her email list to this day because of that. You can do the same thing. You can do the same thing. Okay? And obviously you can bundle book packs together and increase your product offering and sell at a higher price. So let's talk about how to make 4 figures per month. We're going to go through this. If you already make 4 figures for you, clap your hands, good to go. Here's how you can add an extra 0 to it. If you make $0, here's how you can make your first sales. Let me tell you where most people screw this up. We're going to have story time with Uncle Tim for a second. Most people that I mentor, whether it's Kindle or online marketing, come to me and they all say this, Tim, I want to make $10,000 a month. And I go, that's great. Michelle, why do you want to do that? I just do. $10,000. I read an ebook somewhere. I got to do it. I say, okay, great, Michelle. How much money do you need to live? About $2,000 a month. Okay, but you want to make 10. Yes. All right. So then we get Michelle on a plan, and Michelle starts making a few bucks. Not much at first, 20, 30 bucks. Then it scales up to a few hundred. And within a few months, if she's done it right and she continues to grow right, she's probably making a few $1,000s. And inevitably, I get this call from Michelle. Tim, I don't know what's going wrong. I just feel horrible. I feel terrible. Like I'm just not, I want to make 10 grand and I'm only making $1,000 or $2,000 per month. And I feel absolutely horrible. Here's what I tell Michelle and here's what I tell you. You're looking at it wrong. When you do that, when you become Michelle, what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is you put undue and unnecessary pressure on you. And what happens that's even worse than that is you don't get to celebrate your success. Can I just tell you guys something? We're friends. We've hung out. We're having a drink together. I just want to tell you this. If you publish a book on Amazon, you're better than 80 to 90% of the people out there. And I don't mean that in an elitist, snobbish way, okay? Don't get your book printed on CreateSpace and have it a chain like Flavor Flav does. Don't do that. What I'm saying is you took action and you got a result. It doesn't matter if it sells 1 copy to your mom or 1,000,000 copies and becomes the world's greatest bestseller. The fact that you took the time to sit down and hit publish on Amazon makes you better than 80 to 90% of the dreamers out there. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. Instead of being like Michelle and beating yourself up because you haven't hit this imaginary figure that you pulled out of your rectal cavity and think that you have to hit, how about this? How about celebrating the fact that you took action? Then celebrate the fact that you made a sale. Then celebrate the fact that you made X number of sales. And then you made $20. And then you made 40. And then you made 100. And then you made 1,000. And then you made whatever it is. Enjoy the process. Don't just say, I'm going to be happy once I hit this goal. Don't do that to yourself because you're never going to hit that goal. Because you know what happens when you make 10K a month? I want to make 15. And the unhappiness cycle begins again. I know guys that are crushing it in markets, making $100,000 per month, and they're miserable. You know why? Because they're not making 150. Instead of stopping and going, holy, I can't believe I'm making this much money doing this, they're upset that they're not making more. So please promise me that you guys will enjoy the journey, that you will enjoy the process, and that you will celebrate every success, no matter how big or how small. All right. No more woo-woo, no more group hug, no more anything like that, okay? All right? Okay. So here's the deal. Here's how you get to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and beyond. All right? If you have a 99-cent book, you got to sell 95 copies of it per day. I don't care who's lying to you. They're telling you, oh, you can make $1 bajillion off. No, no, no. You can, but that's an anomaly. That's what Malcolm Gladwell will call an outlier. I'm not talking about outlier. I'm talking about you and me, common, everyday people, right? Most of us aren't going to be able to sell 95 copies of our book per day. But look what happens when you have $3.99. Then you got to sell 12 copies of your book. But what happens when you have 12 books? Then all you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is sell 1 copy of every book per day. And when you do the Pump the Brakes promotional strategy like we do and get like 95 sales in 96 hours, it makes it real easy to hit those numbers. Okay? The more books that you have there, the less that each book has to perform. So instead of going up to bat and saying, I got to hit a home run every single time, it's like all I got to do is get on base. That's all I got to do. I'm going to get on base. The guy next to me is going to get on base. Then the guy behind that's going to get on base. And before you know it, we're going to start collectively hitting home runs. You want to make more money? Get more books. Charge more money for your books. That's it. There's no secret formula. There's no hidden Kindle, foundation of secret Kindle authors that are hidden away on this deserted island that only come out at, on midnight on the 3rd Saturday of every February. There's none of that crap. Make more books, sell them at higher prices. The more books you have, the higher the price, the less copies you have to sell to make money. Right? By the way, people are asking, are we going to have access to this? Yes, you will. I'll tell you about that in a second. So piggyback nonprofits. By the way, again, I like frequently checking in. Is this starting to click? I really am hoping that some light bulbs are going off, that things are starting to click, that you're starting to see like, you know what? This isn't so bad. Yes, it takes work. Yes, it takes effort. Yes, it takes time. But if you put in the time, you put in the effort, you'll start to see the results. Good. Okay. Yes, this is awesome. Makes total sense. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. Diet Coke makes me function. Okay, so let's talk about piggybacking off of nonfiction and fiction. Children's picture books. Obviously, that's a great place to start. I recommend that you guys do. Okay, recipe books, another great place to go in. Tie in with popular yet to be released books. We'll talk about that in fiction. Seasonal books, and of course, you can always write your own. Never discount your own knowledge. I just asked you, I mean, seriously, if you get off this call, write a list and say, what's something someone would pay me $3 to learn? You lose 30 pounds? Hell yeah, I want to learn that. You have a better relationship with a spouse that will impact my relationship somehow? I want to learn that. What can you teach me for $3 that I'd willingly and gratefully be happy to learn and know? Right? Okay, let's talk about fiction. I'll be honest with you. Just being honest like I have this entire time. I'm scared of fiction. I'm getting ready to go into it, but I'm a little scared of it because I don't know what I'm doing. Nonfiction, it's easy to tell. Is it good? Is it bad? But here's what I'm doing with fiction. I'm going to start small in a genre that I already know and like. So for me, John Grisham books. I love John Grisham books. I've read them all. I've read all of them multiple times. I know what's a good one of his books that I really like. I know what a bad book of his is like. Well, I could just go through those books and say, I really like it when this happens. I don't like it when this occurs. Let's get a story made up around that. There's a reason why they say model winners and learn from losers. If you're like, man, this person consistently is doing well, they're selling well, their books are doing well, they've got a good Amazon ranking, they have a good following, there's a reason for it. Find out the reason. Same thing with like, this is the worst book ever. There's a couple books of John Grisham's that are so bad I can't even finish them. So I would learn from them and go, what makes this book so horrible in my brain? Because chances are, just like with the ADD stuff, just like with the we're beginning at zero stuff, just like all of that, you think you're alone on a desert island. The truth of the matter is you're surrounded by millions and billions of people just like you. And your likes and dislikes are identical to other people. Current and future bestsellers. So Mark says 50 Shades of Grey wrote terribly, but a massive hit. Well, let's talk about 50 Shades of Grey, and I'm going to do it with a little disclaimer. First of all, again, this is just an example. Okay, if you have a religious or moral rejection or, you don't agree with it, that's fine. Just listen to the example and what I'm saying, not the content. I'm not saying you have to go out and write dirty books. If you do, great. If you like doing that, great. If you don't, great. It's your life. You live it how you want to. Let your freak frag fly. Okay. So the old 50 Shades of Grey, which I'm sure none of you guys have ever heard about, I probably need to do a 2-hour dissertation on it, right? I mean, I'm sure nobody here has ever heard of that book. This is the first time you've ever been heard or had that book shoved down your throat, right? I'm sure, right? Everybody here, please tell me somebody knows. Okay, somebody does. Good. Here's the thing about that book. That book became a bestseller. That's awesome. Here's the really cool thing about that book. That book is going to be published into a movie in August of this year. What do you think is going to happen to the book once the movie is released? I'm just curious. What do you think is going to happen to the book once the movie is released? Chances are it's going to have a second surge of sales, right? How many of you guys seen The Wolf of Wall Street or know of that movie? By the way, if you don't like the 50 Shades of Grey, do not go see The Wolf of Wall Street. You will hate me, okay? It's vulgar. It's got profanity. There's drug use, sex stuff. It breaks all of the laws, right? All the commandments, I think, are done in that book, in movie. Here's what happened when that movie released. That book that was like a ghost town on the New York Times bestseller, instant bestseller again. Again, right? So let me ask you a question. If you did decide to write romance or erotica books, when do you think would be a good time to release your book? Do you think it'd be good to release it now or maybe wait for a little bit, get some more books written, and maybe release them around the time the book gets turned into the movie? Well, why is that, Tim? Well, going back to our cookbook example, you don't just have one cookbook. Chances are, if you like the 50 Shades of Grey, you don't just have one 50 Shades of Grey type book, okay? When the housewife gets done reading 50 Shades of Grey and she replaces the batteries, she's looking for another 50 Shades of Grey type book. If you write a similar book like that, chances are she's going to buy it because, hey, I've already seen this book. I've already read it. Now I'm looking for something else. It's always the guys that get that joke. It's always the guys. Okay. So if you can learn about books that are coming out that are in your niche, that are written. For instance, if Tim Ferriss came out with a 4-hour ninja book and I was going to have a book on ninjas, I'd probably want to tie into Tim Ferriss as much as possible. Why is that? Because, again, if you're interested in a topic, you typically just don't go to one source. Perfect example, you guys. Chances are you're not on just my list or not just on Martin's list or this list or that list. Or you're on everybody's list because you're interested in the topic and you want to learn as much about it from as many different sources as possible. Right. Mary says she got it. Good. All right. Let's talk about your daily activities because these are your daily activities. This is what you should do on a regular and frequent basis. First of all, get up, check your stats. See what's going on, what the bestseller is in your category and niche. Next thing is schedule promotions for your book. Where the machine stops is when you're not creating new content and when you're not promoting the content you already have. Then check in with the outsourcers. So Monday, I'm going to have a meeting with my staff. I'm going to sit down and go, staff, this is the books I want to have created. Wednesday, I'm going to go, where are we with those books? Friday, I'm going to say, please tell me those books are in production. If they are, we're going to have a party on Friday. Not really, but I'll throw some confetti, and it'll be a good time for me. If not, we're going to have a problem. So don't micromanage. No one likes to be micromanaged. But if you do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday check-in, you're in a good spot, in a good space for that. And you should be checking in with your people often. Don't do like I used to do where it's like, you said it'd be ready on the 18th. I'll check with him on the 19th, see how things are going. Because inevitably what happens is you show up on the 19th expecting to get that email that never happens. Then you start chasing the guy and bam. It's like he disappeared and you got to start all over. Right? Cynthia, no one else is reporting audio issues, so please log out and log back in, and you'll be good. Okay? So move one step closer on the fast action calendar, which of course I'll give to you guys. And here's the next thing, right? Learn, read, write. I told you this before. I'm telling you again. I know you're not on just my list. I know that. It's okay. I'll give you a hug anyway. I love you. You can do it. I believe in you. But you got to learn. You bought the stuff. You might as well learn it. You might as well go through it. You might as well unwrap the cellophane. Look, I'm not preaching from a hill here. I bought a $1,500 promotional program one time, not related to Kindle. I paid to have it overnighted, and it sat on my shelf for a year. And then one day I got sick of looking at it. I ripped open the FedEx box. I read the thing, and within 6 months I'd made $25,000 off of it. Imagine what would have happened had I done it a year before. Read. I believe to be a good writer, whether you're outsourcing or not, you need to be able to read. Not just like, I just understand the words, boss. I mean, read. Read fiction, read nonfiction. Whatever you're into, get into it. Know what's good, know what's bad. Read. The more you read, the more you learn. And write. Okay? I'm not saying you need to become the next Mark Twain. I'm not saying you need to become a hipster and pour out all your feelings onto the page. Right, as you sit there with your vanilla chocolata in Starbucks and you pound away on your keyboard. But I do believe it's important for you to write. If you're high tech, do what I do. Okay, go out and buy a Chromebook. They cost you about $200. Make it a Microsoft or a Google Docs document, and basically write there. If you're low tech, like I also like to be, go out and spend yourself a whopping $2.79 on a composition wide notebook. Wide ruled notebook. That costs you $2. If you wait till around kids back to school time, it costs you 10 cents. Kind of funny how that works, right? Sit down, get a cup of coffee, and write for 30 minutes a day. In less than a month, you'll have about 20,000 words done, and you'll have a book. How do I know? Because that's exactly what I've done. Then you take the pages, you get them transcribed on Fiverr, and bam, you've got a book. I've also gone to the dollar store, Deb. They weren't there. right? Sam's Club. Okay, yeah, you guys got it. You work through your process. I'm just kind of sharing mine. All right. So let's talk about your 2014 action blueprint, and then let's get to some of you guys' questions. First, set up your calendar to start producing 2 books per month. This is if you outsource it. If you write them yourself, yes, it's going to take some time. I don't care what your ultimate end goal is. What you need to do is have a system in place and a calendar in place to make that happen. You can write a nonfiction book per month. You can write a fiction book per month if you keep it small. Again, I'm not talking about the next War and Peace. I don't recommend you do big books to start. Okay? It's like the guy who hasn't worked out in 30 years and goes, hey, man, I signed up for a marathon. I'm going to go run that. And you're like, really? When are you doing that? He's like, tomorrow. I'm like, He's like, how do you think it's going to go? I'm like, well, I think you're probably going to die because you haven't worked out in forever. Get a small accomplishment. Your energy will be high. Your motivation will be high. Your determination will be even higher. It's a lot easier to build on small accomplishments and build up than try to accomplish a massive accomplishment at once. The reason why you guys aren't hitting your goals is because you've made that first step too high. Right? Next thing is start promoting your books once per week using the Pump the Brakes promotional plan. Okay? Once the first books are profitable, I want you to scale up in that category niche until you have 12 books producing a solid and consistent profit each and every month. Last month I didn't do crap with my books. Amazon still cut me a check for a few $100. And then you want to grow to 4 figures per month and then beyond. So let's talk about how to get a copy of the presentation. Yes, it is being recorded. In fact, if you're watching the recording, this is the part where you go, well, duh, it's being recorded. I'm watching it. Yes, but here's the thing, the dirty little secret. I'm going to turn this into a presentation that's going to be paid very shortly. And I want your help and I want your honest feedback on today's workshop. Okay? So I legitimately want you to go here, and I'm going to put it in the chat box so you can click on it. I want you to go there, and I want you to answer that question for me and tell me what you feel the best part of today's presentation was. Okay? Was it the fast action calendar? Whatever it was, I want you to go to this URL that I'm putting in there so it's clickable right now for you and answer that question. I'm actually going to stop the presentation right now. Here we go. Now, one more thing. Remember that Pump the Brakes promotional strategy I mentioned? Well, I want to kind of share some of those results with you guys because I believe in being completely honest with you and showing you how we were able to do with it. So let's do that. The first 24 hours you used the Pump the Brakes promotion, we got all the way down to the number one category number one in our 2 categories and to the 112th in the free Kindle store. Now, that's awesome and that's great. Free is cool, but you don't make any money on free, right? And even though we got over 2,600 downloads, we decided, hey, what if we stopped this free promotion and actually tried to make some money off of our book? So within 48 hours, as you can see right here, we did 45 sales of our book. 48 hours, 45 sales of our book. Within 96 hours, we got all the way down to number 4,233 paid in the Kindle store. Here's the really cool part about that. We were actually able to get all the way down to like number 3,700. I just couldn't screenshot it because I was at a bar at the time and didn't have a chance to do that. Okay? Now, within 96 hours, we were able to sell 97 copies of our book. We got the book borrowed 8 times, and we did over 4,400 free downloads. Now, that's all well and good, right? But what about the following month? Well, the following month, this book was still one of our best-selling books and continued to be for months following. That's what made it so powerful, okay? Now, here's the really funny part. I actually taught this with my high-level mastermind. I've got a group of about 30 mastermind people in my Kindle group, and I taught it to them. And the funny thing about that was my students did it better than I did because I didn't get to be number 1 in my category, but my students did. And they did it not once but twice with 2 separate different books. Okay? Now, this has worked better than any software or any services that I've used. Okay? You guys have AK Booster. I would definitely use that software in conjunction with this promotional strategy to blow it out of the water. And I'm sure you guys have seen like the 10,000 downloads, guys. Again, it's worked better than all that. It's not that those don't work. They do. I've used them. They work great. This has just worked better for me. Now, here's the really awesome part. It's deceptively simple. It costs us about $10 to do. It takes a few people on Fiverr. That's where the $10 comes from. And they push free traffic. And then we do the promotional strategy to let it do the rest. Okay? Now, here's what I want to show you. I want to show you how we get the outsource. I want to show you the exact outsourcers we hire to use to push a ton of free traffic our way and how to leverage that free traffic for more sales, more downloads, reviews, and more, including building a list. I want to show you how we built over 4,400 downloads in 48 hours, how we paid for our book in 96 hours. The book actually did so well, it actually paid for 2 other books of us. How you can raise your price of your book and sell more copies. We stopped this promotion halfway through. We added an extra $1 to the price. We sold more copies at the higher price and made about triple the money. And, of course, how you can build a list off of all that traffic, free and paid. Okay, so here's exactly what you'll get. It's a 2.5-hour workshop with me where I broke down the complete question and answer strategy, the pump the brake strategy with a complete Q&A session. Not to mention, I showed a cool way to piggyback up other people's books and leverage their own books for more sales. I also showed a very cool way that you can do reviews that Amazon totally loves. It improves your Amazon bestseller ranking. It's completely white hat, and it's worked for everyone that I've shared it with. I thought it was no big deal. When I shared it during this presentation, people lost their freaking minds, okay? And I'm going to give you my complete outsourcing system that I've used to publish every book on Amazon. So for everyone that's thinking about outsourcing, whether you've got 1 or 100 books, I'm going to give you everything. And I break everything down in a simple step-by-step format. I show you what worked and what didn't. If you like today's presentation, you're going to love this training because it's just like this presentation except even more in-depth. When I say I give you my outsourcing system, I literally take one of my books and I break it down into that 10-step formula and I show you step 1, here's what we did, step 2. And I don't just tell you, oh, here's what we did. I show you, here's who we hired, here's what we did, here was the results. Okay? When you're done with everything, you're going to have my outsourcing system. That's how I complete, create, and publish these books. So if you don't know how to do these books, I got your back because this system will do it for you. Then I'm going to share with you my promotional system. So now that you have these books done, how the hell do you promote them, make more sales, get more downloads, build a buyer's list, become an Amazon bestseller? Plus, I'm going to give you access to every person and everything I use to get my books published. Now, David talked about how it was straightforward, no nonsense. Jerry talked about how it was fresh, not rehashed, and not hit or miss like a lot of strategies. Joy said it was amazing. So she liked how I broke everything down step by step and made it brain dead simple to perform. And Linda said she made sure, she was happy, I made sure everybody understood and was willing to help. And I'll show you how much I'm willing to help in just a moment. Okay, not only, I mean, Wayne did this, okay? So Wayne got the program and he did it. And inside of our private Facebook group that you'll get access to, by the way, right, he said he doubled his sales of his previous book using the Pump the Brakes promotion. So this doesn't just work for good old Tim Castleman. This works for people just like you. Carol, right, went to number 3. I want you to understand, number 3 in all of Kindle. Out of all the books downloaded for free, she was the 3rd most popular. She got over 18,000 downloads. 18,000 downloads in 2 days. And at the end of it, she sold 50 copies of her book with an Amazon bestseller rank of 10,000. She had never been below 50,000 before, and she spent $10. And the great thing is, it's all outsourced. You spend the money, and it's done. You spend the money, and it's done. They do the work for you. So like I told you, I want to give you guys everything you need to publish and promote your book. I want to give you my complete outsourcing system along with the promotional strategies that we've used to sell any books more than anything else we've tried. So you're going to get a total of 5 hours of training. The first is my affordable KD creation. It's 2.5 hours, okay? The Pump the Brakes promotion is another 2.5 hours. Affordable KD creation, ladies and gentlemen, that is the system to outsource your books easily and effortlessly in 30 days for less than $100. The Pump the Brakes promotional strategy is how we're leveraging free traffic and a few gigs on Fiverr to bring us more downloads, more sales, more reviews, and build a list. Plus, I want you guys to imagine being able to be a bestseller. I want you to be confident of having a strategy that works consistently and completely and can be completely outsourced. And I want you to be able to produce books and pay for them almost overnight. The last time we did the strategy, we paid for our book within 96 hours. And here's what I want you to do to take advantage of this. I want you to go to kdptb.com/Ben. Again, kdptb.com/Ben. Okay, and I want you to reserve your program. But I want to give a warning, okay? This is actually, I believe, the last time I'm giving this presentation, and I'm closing this out within 24 hours, okay? So Monday, February the 3rd, is the last time you're going to be able to get this deal unless we sell out beforehand, okay? Now, the first time we did this, we sold 50 copies in less than 15 minutes, all right? And I want to show you. You can see this. I took this right as we were getting on the call. 2014 Kindle Publishing Blueprint. Saturday, February there. 1,831 people. 1,831 people. Okay? Now, the best news is I want to reward fast action takers, okay? So for the first 25 buyers, here's what you get. You get a live Q&A call with me. We're going to jump on, just like a GoToWebinar, just like this, and I'll answer any and all questions for you. I'm also going to do a Q&A call in just a moment, but this is specifically relating around the promotional system and the outsourcing system. Ask me anything and everything. The next thing I'm going to give you is a Kindle case study. We sell this for $97. How do I know? We sold it yesterday to somebody for $97, okay? It is a 2-month-long Kindle case study we did that had 3 different books created from 3 different outsourcers from 3 different sources. We had one created on Need an Article, one on Odesk, one on Fiverr. We break it down step by step, and this is on top of the 5 hours of training that you already get. Not to mention you'll get interviews, hot seats, and complete reviews of books, and my Kindle outsourcing guide, which is a monthly up-to-date resource that shows you how to publish, how to find writers, illustrators, photographers, book covers, whatever you need for Kindle, you got it here. If you wait past 26, right, you miss out on the Q&A. If you wait even longer, you're going to miss out on the case study, right? If you wait even longer, all you're going to do is get the outsourcing guide. By the way, when you buy, write I'm in here. That way I know to include you in the bonuses, okay? Now, this case study is going to talk about the Bat book, the Horse book, and the Planet book that you guys saw earlier. It's broken down, okay, step by step, along with hot seats, where we take people's books and we tear them apart with their permission, of course. We talk about what's wrong with the covers, what's wrong with X, Y, and Z, and we break them down so they can be better things. So you'll get my affordable KD creation, the Pump the Brakes promotional strategy, the live Q&A call, the Kindle case study, the interviews, hot seats, and reviews, plus my outsourcing guide for one low price. The faster you act, the more you get. The faster you act, the more you get. So get everything at kdptb.com/Ben. It is in the chat box. You can click on it right there. I'm going to take a breath. Then I'm going to take a drink of this delicious Diet Coke. And then I'm going to answer any questions that you guys have. Perfect. All right. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Great. Beverly's in, Lisa's in, Mark's in, Denise is in, Michael's in again. Oh, man, we got 3 Michaels. Okay, gotcha. Michael, I believe you are one of the first 25. Here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to do. Well, let me ask you guys a question. You can determine. When you're watching replays, and just be honest with me, when you're watching replays, do you ever watch the question and answer session, or do you just kind of watch up to this point and that's the end of it? Darwin's in, right? Michael Ann says that. Okay, sometimes. Okay. Well, here's the deal. I'm going to make this offer available to everyone that's on the call, okay? Which means I will, as long as we're on this call, and I'm expecting to be on this call for about 15 minutes, as long as we are on this call, I will offer all the bonuses to people. But once we're off the call, then we reset and we go to just keeping the people. Just keeping the different levels. So just understand that, okay? I'm going to do that because you guys took time out of your day to hang out with me. All right? So, okay, cool. Perfect. All right, so with that, I know you guys only have about a bajillion questions, which is great. So please start hitting me with your questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Do you keep your books on KDP always? Don't worry about other venues. Denise, right now we're only doing KDP. We will start transitioning them to other markets after their second promotional effort. So the first 90 days, we make sure we're good. Second 90 days, we make sure we're good. And then as long as we're good and confident, then we'll start transferring them over. We have not done that yet because we haven't, just being honest, we haven't hit that second 90-day period yet. So just kind of understand that. That's where we go. And I asked for questions, and you guys are hitting me with them amazingly well. So that's great. That's fantastic. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Perfect. Okay. I do KDP Select. That's correct. Do you use a pen name? Yes, Lisa. Every book I do has a pen name, and every different genre I do has a pen name. Okay? So like our children's books, we have one pen name. On our other books, we have a different pen name. For our other holiday books, they have different pen names to match it so that there's congruency, so that when you click on my author's name, they don't go, why is this guy a survival expert, a fitness expert, a health expert, a children's book author, and so on and so forth. So that's why we have different pen names. I believe you can have up to 5 on Amazon. I believe, don't quote me on that, but we currently have 2 or 3 and no issues. What do you advise for promoting historical fiction? Wesley, do the pump the brakes promotional thing. I'm telling you, fiction will sell, I've been told, will sell better than nonfiction. If you do the pump the brakes promotional and it's a good historical fiction and it's quality and you can get the word out there, I think you'll do better than we did on our nonfiction thing. Are you publishing on CreateSpace as well? Yes, Mark, we are publishing on CreateSpace. And inside that case study, there is a CreateSpace breakdown where we show you how we put the book on there, how we get it publicized, all that great stuff. So just to let you know there. Okay? Mike says, is the 5 pen names per Author Central account, but you can have as many accounts as you like. Mark says he's in, by the way. Any software? No, Theodore. You've got AK Booster. You got all the software that you need to get reviews, to do keyword research, and to do come on, brain, work. Oh, and to do promotional stuff. So no, use AK Booster in conjunction with this. You're a powerhouse. You're a powerhouse with that. Okay, well, the good news is there's a million questions. The bad news is there's a million questions, so I'm going to start doing that. Stephanie says she's in. Yeah, just to let you guys know, yeah, I wouldn't wait too much longer because the bonuses are quickly evaporating. Regarding recipe books, where do you find original recipes? A lot of times, Lisa, we'll look at other books. We'll also look at recipe websites and also family recipes. That's where I get a lot of my recipes. It's just going to my family and going. Like my wife makes the most amazing pumpkin pie, so I made her cough up that recipe for me so that I could make money off of it. Ha. Yes, it is, John. I believe it is, John. I'm going to give you my email address, John. Email me there directly, and I will answer your question the second I get off this thing. Send to all. Okay, gotcha. Does the system work so well for fiction-type books or nonfiction that is told as fable using animals talking? Marcy, I can't see why the system wouldn't work for you. You'll have to do a little bit more effort when it comes to the outline and kind of explaining what you want in the fiction thing, but I know a lady that's doing it with fiction, and she's having the whole thing outsourced. The only thing she did was come up with the plot. So if you can come up with the plot, they'll take care of the rest for you. Okay? We're going to keep rocking and rolling here. How can I get reviews for the book? Leonardo, we talk about it in there. How we're doing it, you can also use the AK Booster review software. That's one of the best ways you can do it. Use the software, get it done for you. What I mean is, use the software, find reviewers, get there. There's a cool, tricky way, which I can't tell you here because it's part of the package, but we use it. Amazon loves that. It doesn't have any problem the way that we do it. It's completely white hat, and it improves your sales ranking along the process. Randy says that he's in. That's awesome. What did you find strange, Wallen, about that? Wallen says, I found it strange about my income report, because I do write a monthly income report. What did you find strange, Wallen? I'm curious. Won't sources get overloaded with everyone who buys? No, Marcy, because they're only doing 1 book per month, and these guys the people that we recommend have people working for them. So it's not just a one-man shop. And if they do, Marcy, guess what? I'll find you another one because I'm committed to your success. So if we start getting complaints like, hey, they're being slow or not delivering, first of all, I haven't had any issues. So right now, to me, that's a non-issue because I haven't had any. Second is that if they do, we'll find other people to do it for you, and I'll tell you, like, hey, don't use those idiots. Use these idiots instead. Gotcha. Sandra, that's awesome. Keep writing there. We are a 501. Okay, I want to promote a published book on Kindle and paperback for our nonprofit. The title is not super optimized, but has a blog and a trailer video. Would you donate your course to us for this great cause? What's the cause, Lashimi? And I doubt it, because I used to work for a nonprofit. I know, yeah, I know how that game works. Like, oh, we're a nonprofit, but we use all our money for this and that. So heaven on earth. Hit me up, Lashimi, and we'll talk. I'm going to give you about 2 seconds of my time. And if I like it, then we can talk. If not, I'm not. And that's not to be mean to you. It's just, there you go. Okay. Ordered Tim, fiction. What price do you suggest for a novel of 65,000 words, historical fiction? Frank, let me ask you this. What are other novels, historical fiction, around that selling for? If you're trying to make a name, go a little cheaper. If you can compete with the big boys, go the same price. If you want to be the alpha, go up a buck. What I would recommend you do is figure out a price. Let's say $3.99. Do the pump the brakes promotion. If it does really well for you, keep it there. Or if it doesn't do well, keep it there. If it does do well for you, which I expect it to, raise your price by a buck and keep going from there. Wallen says, I'm sorry, but the results are not as you mentioned on this webinar. If I'm wrong, I'd love to know from you. Well, Wallen, what did I tell you? What results did I tell you that I did not deliver in your mind on this webinar? I'm generally curious. Do you help pick titles itself? Stephanie, we have 8 hours of hot seats where we go over books and we go over keyword research and we go over titles and we go over covers and we go over descriptions. So that stuff, watch those, and that will help you. The biggest mistake, I'll tell you, the biggest mistake that I see people doing right now with titles is they're keyword stuffing it, right? It's like a book on penguins, a book on penguins. It's like, we get it. It's a book on penguins. Like, make it natural sounding. Have your keyword in it if you can, but make it natural sounding. The other thing is, relating to covers, is they don't have a strong call to action or a curiosity hook. So it's like penguins, a book on penguins. Like, okay, well, like our book on bats is like bats, cool creatures of the night. That sounds cool, better than bats, a book on bats, about bats, for people that like bats. Faith, they are inside of the... they're inside the case study, I believe, or they're on the download page, Faith. Eric says he's in. That's awesome. Okay, there you go. Katina, not sure if you answered this question already. My kids are interrupting me a few times in the Q&A. Karen, Katina, here's what I'd recommend. For kids that interrupt, throat punch. Set the tone, lead with a jab, then go to, okay, I'm kidding. That's why I'm only allowed to have 8 dogs. My concern with outsourcing is copywriting and royalties owned contributors. Where do I get the less necessary legal forms? Here's the deal, Katina. I don't have any legal forms. We just do a simple agreement, and basically, and it's included for you. And basically, we tell them, like, we want this to pass Copyscape, so it can't be copywritten because we use Copyscape Pro and scan everything through that. Amazon also does that as well. So they don't get paid if it doesn't pass copyright protection. The other thing is, we just tell them, this is our work. It's our original work. We only want it for us. You cannot use it or sell it yourself. I've never, ever had a problem with that. I'm just being completely and blunt with you. I've never had a problem with it, but because we've done those things. All right? Dave says he's in. Frank says he's in. Faith, do me a favor. Email my assistant. I'm going to give you my email address. It's just contact timcastleman@gmail.com. Ed says he's in. You guys are snatching up these bonuses quickly. And great, fantastic. Do you use PLR material? No, Philip, I don't. Why? Because I had a buddy that did PLR, and guess what? He can't publish on Amazon anymore because they shut his account down. I do not recommend PLR. I'm just being completely honest with you. I know a lot of people advocate it. I don't think those people have Kindle accounts anymore, just to be honest with you. Jay says he's in. I love Jay's name, Jay Author. Is that your really last name, Jay? If it is, I outed you to the whole world. My bad. But if it is, that would be really cool. It is. Awesome. So Jay was going to be an author because his name is Jay Author. PLR is private label rights, right? Leo's in, by the way. Private label rights is like, you go buy some 1985 ebook. I don't think they had them back in 85. But you use this crappy PLR, you put it up on Amazon, you get a new cover made, and bam, you're good to go. Problem is, people started doing that a lot. Amazon took notice of it. Now, if they catch you doing it, it's not even a warning. It's like, hey, thanks so much. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. Stephanie, I like that. I'm Nurse Payne. Well, way to go, Stephanie. That would scare me if I was in the hospital. Like, hi, I'm Nurse Payne. Be like, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did, but I apologize. Please love me. Greg just purchased. Awesome. Great to have all these people joining us here. Is there a tool to verify that outsourcers are spinning PLR? Yes, Kevin, there is. It's called Copyscape Pro. Okay, it costs you $10. It'll last you approximately a lifetime because they charge, I think it's 10 cents for every 2,500 words. So we'll take their article or whatever they write for us and put it in Copyscape Pro, and it passes that. Then we put it up on Amazon. If it doesn't pass either one of those, we tell them they got to rewrite it or they got to, or they're not getting paid. That's just the bottom line. Rewrite or don't get paid. Yeah. So that's that one. That's that. Okay. Sorry, guys. There's a ton of questions I'm trying to do. You mentioned KD Booster, and I don't know what I'm talking about. No, AK Booster. I'm talking about the program that you guys bought, right? Okay. That's what I mean. Yeah, Randy, I don't know what's going on, but that's not. So Ian's in. There you go. Copy what Pro? Copyscape Pro, Jim. It's just Copyscape. If you let's see, I'd say it's easy, but I'm a terrible speller. COP, Copyscape Pro. Make sure that's right. Yeah, it's just Copy SCAPE Pro. You have to put $10 in, and like I say, it's 10 cents per scan, and you'll be good to go. Is there a place where the bonus items can be purchased? Cynthia, those items are all included, ma'am. And I'm just telling you, Cynthia, the price, I mean, I'll let you know, is $97 for this whole package. The price of, like, the Kindle case study is $97. So you're getting a $97 product for free plus that. Our KD outsourcing guide, you can go to kdoutsourcing.com or .net. I really should know my websites, right? Outsourcing.com. Yes, kdoutsourcing.com. You can grab that there. Okay, Cynthia, I'm going to give you my email address, and we will talk about that, and we will get it worked out for you, okay? How do you use keywords and titles and subtitles with fiction? Is it still doable? Marcy, I'm just going to be honest with you, like I have been this entire time. I have not done fiction, so I don't want to speak on that. I would try to work in your keyword if you can, but again, I'm not the one. Okay, so I don't want to give you, I'd much rather tell you I'm not the one than give you bad advice. Okay? What is the upfront cost to outsource a book? Jim, our children's books run about $65, and our recipe books run about $100. Yeah, that's correct. Yes, Kathy, that is correct. Yeah, guys, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Okay? Yeah, Jim, Jim says, oh, that's not bad at all. No, it's not bad at all, Jim. That's why I like those, because they're not bad. It's like, okay, I'll put $65 out to make that back within 90 days and then start getting $20 a month for the rest of my life from some of these books. Yeah, let's do that. What I would do, Mark, it says on the download page, what's the best way to consume the training? If you don't have an outsourcing system, do the outsourcing system first. Go through all of that. Do that and look at the hot seats and reviews. Then get your book created. Then once your book is created or almost done, then go through the promotional system, Mark. That's what I'd recommend that you do. That's the easy and best way to do that. Okay? It's 3:42 my time, guys. I'm gonna go another 8 minutes. That's what we're gonna go. Now I'm gonna hold that because I got stuff to do, and I know you do too. Here's the deal. Again, we're gonna extend all the bonuses for everyone on this call, but when we're off the call, then everything gets reset and bonuses go away. Okay? You said Fiverr is a source, and one that sounded to me like Odessa. Kathleen, not Odessa, Odesk. All right. When you outsource a book, do you tell them it's for an ebook? We either tell them it's for an article or we tell them it's for a book. I believe we do. We haven't had any problems with it. Mike, I believe all the downloads are there. The only thing that's not is the sign-up link for the Q&A call, which will be recorded, by the way. If you can't make it, that's perfectly fine. We'll do the Q&A call and answer any and all questions that you guys have. And always, you can always contact. I have full-time support, so they're here to help you. Yeah, Michael says it's for a free report. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Michael or Michelle Ann, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. Says, so Tim, how could your program help someone like me, a professional expert and writer who isn't going to outsource the writing but wants to utilize other parts of your system? The price point's great, and I have to be wise use of my time. Well, my guess is if you're going to write it, you're still not going to create your own covers. You're still not going to have you're not going to do your own formatting, and you're still not going to promote a ton of your book. That's where it's going to help you. The other stuff. Like if you're really good at writing, then only do the writing and let someone else do everything else for you. Put the book together, get a cover made for you, make sure that your keywords are optimized, get it all formatted. You put it up on Amazon, then you use the promotional plan. The real key is eventually, especially if you're going to be a professional at this, you're going to have some people to work for you, right? Whether it's a full-time VA, part-time VA, something like that. You can learn the system, teach it to them, and then they can do all the work for you. So that's what I would tell you. Help, help, help. How do I get positive reviews with AK Booster? I want not just reviews, of course, but 4 to 5 star reviews. First of all, Watson, I have a group called Authors Advantage, and if you said that in my group, you would be booted immediately. Here's the thing. You're asking for a review. You can't tell someone, I want 4 or 5 star reviews. Of course, we all want that, right? I'd like to be married to 2 women at the same time. Unfortunately, the state of Texas and my bank account proves that to be futile. So what you need to do if you want to have 4 or 5 star reviews is put the best book possible out there, 1, and 2, go to people that have reviewed similar books, and you can do this with AK Booster, right? Have reviewed similar books and go to them and say, hey, I saw you, so let's say your book's on sharks. I saw you reviewed this book on sharks. Would you like to review my book on sharks? Because chances are if they like sharks, they're going to want to do more reviews on sharks. So that's what I would tell you to do. That's what I would tell you to do. But don't ever tell anybody that you want 4 or 5 star reviews. If you want 4 or 5 star reviews, you work for those 4 or 5 star reviews. You're going to have people that don't like your book. No one likes everything, right? I've been here the last almost 2 hours. Someone on this call don't like me. I can't have everybody like me. All I can do is give my best. The people that get it and want to be successful get it. The people that don't, and they go on toiling and doing whatever they do with their life. I can't worry about those people. I can only worry about the people that get it. You're not always going to have people that get it. There's people that hate Tim Ferriss. I like Tim Ferriss. There's people who hate Frank Kern. I like Frank Kern. Different strokes, different folks. That's what I would tell you to do. I would not tell them, of course. Yeah, no, I know. I know you wouldn't want some. What I would tell you is have the strongest book possible and go out and find people that are already offended. Like, if I had to do a book on review on skateboarding, I hate skateboarding. I don't hate it. I don't think anything of it. So it'd be tough for me. But if it was a topic that I loved, let's just say cigars, right, and it was easier for me, then hell yeah, I would definitely take a look at it. Okay? Yeah, gotcha. Howard says, great presentation, Tim. You're a rock star. Well, thank you, Howard. I will be sure to print that out and put that right where my wife can see that when she returns home so that she can remind me that I'm not. Because this rock star probably has to go to like poop scoop after this. I've got a source page for the program. Do you email that to us? Yes, Stephanie, we sure do. What is the link that I can get in? The bonus came with the purchase of the program. Oh, the AK program. Leonardo, you'll need to hit up the support folks, and we'll get you taken care of there. Okay? You can just email me, contacttimcastleman@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer or to get you to the right person. All right? Guys, we got about 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. I will be more than happy to answer any and all questions. Tara, that's a beautiful name, by the way, Tara. Would you recommend your system for marketers who are helping Kindle authors promote their books and build a fan base? Hell yeah, I would. Take my Pump the Brakes promotional thing, keep your mouth shut about where you learned it from, and go let them do it. And just show them, and you'll be a genius. They're like, where'd you learn this? Be like, I don't know where I learned it, Tim Castleman. Can you write down your email? Yes, I can, Leonardo. The question is, can you? Because I'm sending that to you right now. How often do keywords in AK Booster tend to change? Does that program keep up with that? I'm sure every time it updates, and when there's going to need to be an update, you guys will get one, okay? Mike, look at that. I really enjoyed your webinar. I love your presentation style. I had a lot of fun. That's all I care about. so that you guys had a lot of fun and you learned some stuff. Nice. Okay, great. Fantastic. Can you give my email? My email is contacttimcastleman@gmail.com. Contacttimcastleman@gmail.com. All right, guys, 60-second warning. Okay, 120. I'll do 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left to grab all the bonuses, everything, get included for everything, and not have to worry about this. If you're watching the replay, you can look below the replay and see how many spots are still left. Hopefully, you've already taken action, because judging by the sales on this webinar and the first webinar, you're not going to have very long to get it. So take advantage of it. Again, this offer, if you decide to wait till after this call, that's fine. Understand some of these bonuses are going to go away, but you still have till tomorrow or Monday at midnight in order to purchase. Let's see here. I'm looking. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to answer as many questions before we cancel it here. Not clear about the bonuses. Not seeing them. Faith, email me. You have my email address. I've given it to you twice. Email me. Tell me what you're not clear about, and I'll be more than happy to get you taken care of. Maria, I didn't see your question. Ask it again. That's why I didn't answer it, because I didn't answer it. Is there a source for recipe books, photos that's used? Yes, Lisa, we include that in the presentation as well. You can see we use stock photos for all our stuff. Stock photos of all our stuff. No problem. No, I do not, Maria. We don't do that on anything. And the reason is I can't let you unlearn the stuff. So that's the whole reason for that.